this video we're going to look at how we use ER Studio with your Informatica CDGC catalog. The mission is to take an existing scanned data asset in CDGC and add the documentation that we have in our data models in ER Studio. And we can add to the Informatica catalog both a logical and physical data model. And we can connect the physical data model to the scanned asset. So let's look at how we do that. The steps are pretty simple. First of all, we're going to scan the asset into the Metadata command center. It then appears in the data catalog. For our ER Studio user, on the desktop we're going to install a runtime environment and create a secure agent to allow us to upload data models to the Informatica catalog. Once we've done that, we can then create a new catalog source using that secure agent and then upload the data model. And once we've uploaded that data model, then we can connect it to the scanned asset. We'll look at those steps in more detail, but let's look at what we get in the Informatica catalog. So I've scanned the asset. In this case it's a SQL Server asset. I've got a bunch of tables within my schema here. And in ER Studio we've created a model. So here in Data Architects I've got a logical model of that asset, and then I've got my physical model with my physical names. So in this case we generated the DDL and we created that live database from this model. So we've got lots of useful business metadata in this model we want to get into Informatica. So we've already imported that model into the catalog. So let's have a look, see what we got. So I've got a logical model and a physical model here. Within my logical model I can see all the entities that have been brought in from my model, and there's all the attributes. So we're going to look at one of these entities. There's lots of useful information such as primary key information. We've brought in the description from ER Studio here. We've got useful information like the physical names. For the physical model that's come from ER Studio, again we can browse through the model. Here is my table employee. It's displaying the logical name, and there's all its component parts. We're going to look at this table. Again, we've got our description from ER Studio, and we've got details on all of the columns. Now this gets interesting when we create a reference connection back to the SQL Server database, which this is the design for. So we go to our relationships tab here. We can go from the table and then expand out relationships, and this takes us then to the scanned asset. So Informatica has automatically reconciled the physical data model from ER Studio with the schema of the scanned asset, and we can hop across to that scanned asset and again see the relationships from the other direction. So let's go through the steps to make this happen. We've already scanned in an asset into Metadata Command Center. So the next step is to install the runtime environment on your ER Studio Data Architect desktop. So we're going to go to our Informatica CDGC administrator section, go to our runtime environments. And first of all, you need to download the secure agent to your desktop. As soon as that secure agent installs, you can get an install token here, copy it and paste it into the secure agent, and then let the secure agent run. And here's the secure agent running on my machine. Once it's up and running, it then automatically connects to CDGC, and you can see here that it's running on my desktop and all working fine. Next step is to create that catalog source in Metadata Command Center that will allow you to upload your ER Studio data models. So back in Metadata Command Center, we can select New, select Catalog Source, and select ER Studio Data Architect. You can give it a name and specify the file name to the DM1 on your local machine. You can then select that runtime environment we just set up. And then there's various options on the import, whether you want to import just the logical model, all models, just the physical model, etc. You can then schedule it to run or run it straight away once you've saved it. Back in Explore, you should then be able to see the model once it's imported successfully. Then the last stage is to create a reference connection between that scanned asset and your ER Studio data model. So in Metadata Command Center, we go to the Configure section and the Lineage tab. And then we can select the scanned asset, choose the little ellipsis and hit assign. Then it'll give you a list of all of the scanned assets that you can create a reference connection to. Simple as that. And then a process will run that makes that connection. Once the connection is made, you can then browse through the models and from column to column, table to table, from the scanned asset to the model and vice versa. So in summary, Informatica CDGC already has a connector built in for EOS Studio that allows you to import your data models, both logical and physical. And that reference connection allows you to automatically stitch the tables and the columns together so that we can show semantic lineage between those models. Thanks for watching. For more questions, contact us at sales@idera.com.